How do I get clients who struggle with self-trust, who say they trust me, actually buy? I keep getting, I want to work with you, but insert a time commitment issue. And so I'm going to pass. Is this me meeting a lot of not aligned clients for me to niche in further to aligned ones? Oh, I see. Right. They're not aligned. So you got to clarify. I don't know. I don't know. This is, but I think you're starting to ask the right questions, right? Is like, why is it that it's not happening? Why do I keep getting these responses? So let me just riff on a few things here. Okay. One is most businesses have a kind of bell curve like this. And over here, with almost nothing, are the yeses. Hard yeses. I'm in. Fuck yes. Over here, with almost nothing, are the hard no's. Absolutely not. I'm not interested. In the middle, there's a bunch of maybes, right? Everybody you meet and you explain your business to is going to fall into one of those three categories. Yes, maybe, no. And so the point is, for most businesses, they're almost always maybes. And there's some things to know about the maybes. First of all, maybes almost always turn into no's. Left to their own devices, they turn into no's. Why? Because they find somebody else. Also, dating. Number two, maybes don't buy. Inherently, they don't buy. People only buy when they're a yes. So the maybes are almost spending money. But then it's seductive because it feels like, oh, I got so much in the pipeline. Look at all the business that's coming. I'm going to get some people soon. But this is hope. And hope is not a good marketing strategy. We can get hooked on hopium, and that shit is straight addictive. So then the question is, why are there so many maybes? That becomes the most important question. Why is there this mountain of maybes in the middle? Why am I having such a hard time finding my people? Who would be a yes? But we can flip that question. I heard this from a colleague of mine. Somebody say, where do I find my clients? And she say, no, where do I find you? So this is part of it. Part of the reason we get the maybes is often because they're giving us a non-committal response because we're being non-committal in our business. They're giving us a generic response because we're being generic. Our lack of vulnerability and our fear of them saying no is often what crafts this ambivalence. For example, most of us have certain opinions we could share about our industry, about the world, that we don't share because we think, well, that would be polarizing. That might get pushback. There's a lot of stuff you're probably sitting on point of view wise. And yes, that's true. That would get more no's, but it would also get more yeses. To me, the goal is this overall, is you got a good bunch of yeses, strong yeses, no maybes, and a bunch of no's. We got to flip it upside down, that thing. Get rid of the maybes. And so there's a lot of filtering that has to happen there. That's the overall general take. But more specifically, then it's important to know, where is the breakdown? And there's three roles of marketing. Every piece of marketing you all ever do will fit into has three roles that have to be achieved. Number one, got to get their attention. Now, Karina's already done that. Already got their attention because the conversation's happening. Number two, we got to filter. So it could be this, or number three, we got to lower the risk. It's those three steps in that order. Get their attention, filter, lower the risk. So within filtering, like a water filter, there's three different levels of filtering here. The first one is relevance. So this would be my immediate question is, have you really nailed the relevance? Is this helping them with a problem that fits three criteria? Number one, this is a must. It's really important. If I don't solve this problem, by the time I die, I'm going to be miserable. That's number one. Is it a must? Really personally important. Number two, is it urgent? Is this like I got to do something about this now, not tomorrow, not the next day, like really urgent. And number three, is it a situation where they need help, where they just can't do it on their own, right? So it's got to be important, urgent, and they need help. So I'm looking at like the situation of, do we have a clear island A or island B? Do we have a clear articulation of the problem and the result? Is this important, urgent? They need help. That's the first thing. And often this is where it falls apart, because instead of offering to take people on a clear journey, it's, well, I do this unique combination of all these modalities, and it can be helpful for a lot of people. That's the best part of actually these modalities. Your system will just kind of take them and use what's useful and probably make some progress. And if you do, I'll take credit for that. And if not, then it's probably your fear stopping you, is what I'll tell you. Anyways, you see how this is not compelling. Just talking about your boat, talking about what you're offering, but not here's the result it's going to help you get, here's the problem it's going to solve. If we've nailed that, then the next question for me is credibility. So we got relevance and then credibility, which is a question of, do they actually trust you? I mean, at the integrity, ethical level, but also, do they trust that you can do the job for real? And maybe not. Even more profoundly, do they trust this problem can even be solved? Sometimes that's the first case we have to make. Not that they should hire us, but hey, this problem is solvable. And then the third one is value. And the value question is, do they look at it and say, yeah, I'm going to get a return on my investment there. That's worth the money. If I spend $1, I'm getting $10 back on this. Is the value greater than the cost in their mind? Sometimes that comes down to pricing or packaging or copywriting, just we haven't articulated it well. And the last thing, the sort of third piece, right? Attention, filter, lowering the risk, is that how do you lower the risk? Sometimes there's an emotional risk, sometimes there's a social risk, a financial risk, a time risk. And if you can identify what the risks are that are holding your people back and deal with those, you will see a dramatic increase in response. Not just a little response, a huge one. So I'm going to pause there. That's the kind of overall idea. But Karina, how does that land for all of that land for you? Does anything appear for you or any further questions on this?
Yeah, I think what really stuck out is that they're definitely with what I bring women through, there's like a social risk that is huge for them, connection. I don't want to sever connection with the outside world because I'm finding me. And that's what I've been trying to niche into a lot more and speak to a lot more through my content, through my POV. And that's what's branching these conversations. And people are like, oh my God, that resonates so much with me. Yes, 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 yes. And then it was like, okay, come into this group container where there's like all these other women that are experiencing the same thing. They're like, no.
Are you
So
are you
yeah.
willing and able to share what it is that you help them with or what the
Yeah, so
containers?
I help women who self-abandon through people pleasing stop doing that. Very simply put, they stop doing that. And I've worked with a bunch of clients before, and basically, long story short, I used to do tarot, saw that this was a huge problem, especially since they were coming to me and looking for that. And I was like, well, that's actually my niche. That's where I want to go. That's what I want to be doing. And so I do have clients, but obviously I want to grow and I'm seeing the immense value in this and how women are walking away being like, it's not that people pleasing stops, it's that I'm not people pleasing 100% of the time anymore, right? Yeah.
So have you asked them why do you what holds you back or what has you
Fear of failure. Fear of failure. And then that the failure to them is the severed connection from their partner, from their families, right? If I'm not people pleasing, then how are people going to gain connection to me? How I'm not useful to them anymore. And so I've been speaking to that a lot with regards to you get to have boundaries that you don't have to be useful
yeah.
and you still get to show up. You don't have to sever that connection completely. And I talk about this because I do think a lot in the industry, they're like, well, then those aren't your people. Fuck off, sever connection with your family. And they're like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, then don't. But you have to figure out a way that actually works for you to be in that connection. And that's what I'm helping you do.
Beautiful. Okay, well, I mean, I think you're on track in terms of speaking to this. How are you marketing this? How are you getting the word out about this container?
So I've started your ethical marketing kit, and I've definitely noticed that hubs are an issue for me, because it's my own issue, right? Like, people pleasing is also my own issue. So hubs are an issue for me. So basically, where I find a lot of my clients is through Instagram, Facebook, and then word of mouth marketing is where a lot of that is coming from. And then I teach yoga, so my yoga clients usually fall into my work as well.
Do you know the idea of a signature workshop?
Yes, I have that. It's called Coming Home to Self.
Okay. And in that signature workshop, you talk about both the people pleasing, but also your approach to dealing with it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. How many of those
Um,
have you done in the last 6 months?
in the last 6 months, I've done four. I have one coming up this coming Wednesday. I was offering it for free, but now I have tacked on an $8 price tag to it,
Sure.
only because I do a 20-minute free introductory call. And I do kind of want to test. The reason why I did that is because I want to test the market around people's actual investment into self rather than just continuing to gather more information and then be like, cool, that was fun. I got another degree and now I'm like screwing off somewhere. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I get it. Okay. So, and how many people in total came to those 4 sessions?
I would say over the last four sessions, I've had about 40 people total that have come.
Okay. And none of those 40 have signed up for the container.
Nope.
Okay. Right. So one thing you can do, and I would suggest to everybody, I got this from Rebecca Tracy, a colleague of mine, is you send an email out to all those people and just saying, hey, I'd love your feedback. I just
Sure.
noticed nobody signed up for this, or the response was a lot lower than I thought. And I'm realizing it may be something about the offer, the way I've structured it, and I'd love to get your candid feedback because sometimes it is timing, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's the fear.
Yeah.
But you can ask, and I recommend that to everybody be in conversation and certainly pull your colleagues in and be like, "Can you look at this offer? Like, why is this not getting a response?" If you ask people to be candid, you may start to get some real good feedback that can help focus or redirect. It might also be that you're speaking to the wrong people, that you need women who are maybe a little bit further ahead in their journey, and that may require
Hmm.
different hubs.
Right.
So there may be, it's okay, maybe if they're in women's circles or certain kinds of women's circles, or definitely not women's circles, or maybe women who are doing yoga or women who are, so those psychographic questions could help. But I'd be
Hmm.
really thinking about, okay, what's the perfect moment for me to show up? There's a time it's too early, there's a time it's too late. What's the sweet spot for me?
Okay.
And what do they already need to have done,
Right.
probably, to be ready to do this journey? Because clearly they're going to be women who it's going to be so confronting. Oh my God, what? Say no to anything ever? No, what? That's no, I can't do that. And so it might just be the wrong people, and you may find you start to speak to a different crowd and you get a different response. And
Okay.
yeah, I think you also have the right instinct at a workshop like that. There's got to be a lot of time taken towards, look, whether or not you work with me, here's what comes up often for women
Hmm.
when we start trying to say no, we start thinking about boundaries. These are the kinds of things that appear, and these are the fears. And so let's talk about those. Let me
Okay.
give you some stories or some examples. Let's do some exercises around the fears. This comes up with niching all the time. People are like, I'm terrified to niche because if I niche, then I'm going to miss out. I'm going to lose it on people. So I wrote a whole ebook on niching. Like, here's the 14 niching fears. So you might
Hmm.
consider doing that, crafting a little ebook or a tiny course or something like, here's the biggest fears that people have
Okay.
around setting boundaries, around starting to say no, and here's my responses to those fears. And I think it is also a good filter where it's, look, this work will ask a lot of you. And if you're
Yeah.
not ready for that, then don't. But this is what it's going to ask. And actually, sometimes that kind of a throwdown, that kind of a putting the gauntlet down can galvanize something in people.
Yeah.
The pushing people away, they're like, look, don't sign up if this isn't true, can have people like, wait, no.
Yeah.
And this can get very tricky, but I could imagine saying something like, look, I may not be the right person for you. This offer may not be the right offer, and this may be completely the wrong time, but it is worth considering what the cost to this pattern has been for you and might be for you. And genuinely, if I'm not the right one, I know other people who can help you with this. So this isn't about you signing up for this now, but giving people some time to really sit with what has this cost you? Have there been opportunities you've missed as a result of this? I mean, this can slip into kind of punching the bruise, so we want to be mindful of it. And why to really have them think of like, why do you want to deal with this? Who cares? Like, why not just be a people pleaser the rest of your life? There are worse fates in the world than this. So why not? What are the goals that you have for your life that this is stopping you from achieving? What are the experiences that you want to have that you just can't have? And then it's, look, with all of that in mind, here's my take on it. And this might not be the right approach for you. And let me be clear on my end who I help best and who I don't help best. And then, I mean, if you feel like, God, I just punched the Bruce way too hard there, you can just say, look, and you can't sign up today. You got to sleep on this. I'm not taking orders, any orders right now. You got to think about this and see if you still feel the same in the morning or take the weekend or something like this.
Yeah.
But my preference would be you find women who've already hit that point. They've already hit the point of, fuck, this has to change now, and I need help. And so, something I really recommend for everybody is to think about for your people, what's the breaking point? What's the point where they say, I can't fucking do this anymore? And what's the situation, not a sensation? What happens in their life that they say, oh, I got to do something today? What are the triggers where it's no longer because people, I mean, people they get low, they go 6 feet under, having people pleased all the way till the end. I mean, they could be on death row. And it's, what would you like for your last meal? I don't know. What do you want? It's like they can get to that stage and still be people pleasing. So that happens. But there are other people because they never maybe hit the breaking point.
Mhm.
And then there's moments where it's, I gotta change. So what are those moments? And the more you can speak to those, and that could be an assessment you do, where it's like, how bad is it? Let's look. Rank yourself 1 through 10 on the following things. And hey, if you rank yourself low, you actually probably don't need this kind of a container. You just need
Mhm.
to straighten up a bit and say no a few more times. You're gonna be okay. But if you rank yourself high, if you're a 10 on all these things, then whether it's me or not, let me just suggest this is hurting you and hurting the people you love. So anyways, these are some thoughts.
Perfect. Thank you.